What's up guys, it's your boy Punchy, back at it again for April 1st. Of course, it's a very serious day. Today, we got a wild discussion to dive into, the gambling oath in Deepwoken. Now, I gotta keep it real with y'all, I hate RNG in competitive gameplay. To me, there's nothing worse than rolling the dice and watching your entire game plan get deleted into the abyss because some AI decided, nah, you're just not gonna win. I make these builds to capitalize upon something in the game, not for luck to destroy that. But let's be honest, Deepwoken is no stranger to the dice roll, and whenever it's brought up, some of you guys want to see it happen, especially in combat. Right now, this isn't the Deep Casino, it's Deepwoken. So a gambling based oath, could it work, would it be busted? The real question here is, can we be Hikari? Here's a speedrun on my concept. We get the deep gambling oath from the Money Sharko because of course. For starters, with this oath, we get a special coin resource that helps us out and we can use it. With the money equals power talent, we can gain damage up for having more coins, or we could spend it defensively with the Silver Guard talent to take less damage. To use these coins in combat with our mantras, we can throw them at people like Ultra Kill or negate status effects completely with a coin flip just like Fear and Hunger. Finally, redeeming all of our spent coins, we can use them and unlock the Hikari domain, granting infinite mantra span and infinite ether for 4 minutes and 11 seconds if we're lucky. And that's it. It's perfectly balanced due to RNG, so you can hire me now and thank me later. Anyway, to be fair, a lot of Deepwoken's combat does revolve around stack building, status procs, and precision. Most elements in the game reward consistently and not randomness, which makes it kinda weird. Take old Thundercall for example, its electrify status used to be tied to RNG, making it very unreliable in combat. That issue was later ironed out and removed, aligning it with some of the other elements that focus on deliberate gameplay choices rather than chance, which I do approve of. So with that in mind, would a gambling based oath even fit? I think Deepwoken has been trying to move away from RNG heavy mechanics, favoring skill-based interactions, so a system that relies on chance might just ruin that balance. You guys already know, I've never been a fan of RNG in Deepwoken, but this recent update made me reconsider a little bit. Added recently, the Jester's Garb and Trickster's Habit now have a talent that gives random positive and negative status effects when you do a taunt. At first, I was skeptical because RNG kind of feels out of place in this game, but surprisingly, it adds up and it's pretty interesting. It's definitely a bold move, but it can work. So here's a quick breakdown on how some of these random status effects could be integrated into an oath. These are a few things that can happen. You can vanish from combat, straight up disappearing until you throw an attack. Then, you can use mantras without any ether cost if you're lucky, which is huge for pressure. Oh, and sometimes you can even reduce enemy posture damage for a set time, turning the tide in those tense moments. And get this, you can even refresh your taunt to trigger it all over again, and you can do 2. So these are really cool when it comes to positive, and people do want to focus on this, but there is a negative side that we can't just ignore. You can actually get debuffed, losing your taunt or spit for a set duration, which is going to mess you up. You can gain more stun from attacks, and you can even get suffocated, locking all of your mantras out. Overall, this armor is a serious gamble, but man, if you're lucky and you play your cards right, it can be a wildly powerful tool. It's an interesting oath dynamic that could add a lot of depth to gameplay, but also forces the user to think carefully when they want to roll the dice. It's the kind of high risk, high reward mechanic that could shake things up if you're brave enough to even play with it. But believe it or not, RNG is already a pretty big factor in Deepwoken, especially when it comes to enchants and bells, which is wild. Take the Curse of Yun Shol, it can randomly deal extra damage, but if you're unlucky, it might just end up hurting you. Curse of Raman's Ember is another example, giving your opponent a random health boost while potentially increasing your damage by a random amount. Like, you gotta be faithful in that luck. These are some of the most inconsistent damage options in the game right now. And don't even get me started on Unstable, the spec enchant that activates any enchant in the game, but you have zero control over what you get. It's all about random chance in the worst possible ways, sometimes they can be good, so RNG is already woven into the game. But honestly, if I'm using a gambling oath, I want to be using something with randomness. Additionally, armor enchants already bring in a random element, even if they provide very specific buffs. These enchants enchants proc randomly when being hit, and this can completely shift the momentum of a fight in a second. It's that unpredictability that can either make or break your build, and that might not be good. Now, if Deepwoken were to introduce an oath that could harness RNG, I could see it working with both weapon and armor enchants. Just imagine if your weapon and armor had random effects that could be triggered based on certain conditions, kinda like how Dr. Random in ABA lets you customize your random pool to pick from. This character is still fully random, but you get to, I guess, reduce the amount of characters you're choosing from. This could give players the ability to choose their range of randomness, letting them still have some control while embracing RNG. You wouldn't just be stuck with complete randomness, chaos, and whatever that might be, but you could still tweak how much unpredictability you're willing to gamble with. I think it'd be a pretty nice balance between strategy and luck, letting you lean into RNG while maintaining some level of control over your gameplay. Anyway, to wrap up the gambling oath speculation, let's talk about randomly rolled bells that are already in Deepwoken. So, every single bell in this game has random variations with near infinite possibilities. We're not just talking crazy slots here, which does reroll different weapons, but every single bell has unique stats. For example, if I have the same exact bell as my friend, we could have totally different values and his could just be better. That's just how it is. So, if RNG were to be implemented into an oath, would your weapon, enchant, armor, and bell all be randomized? It's hard to say, but it could be a possibility. Even random effects from statuses, just like the Jester's Garb, could be tied into talents or mantras that introduce similar RNG. Honestly, I'm not entirely sold on complete randomness in Deepwoken, but stepping back and looking at the game, I mean, it's clear there's already some built into the game. So, it's just something to think about. RNG could work if done correctly. Anyway, leave your own thoughts down below. What do you think about the Deep Gambler Oath? Should Hikari be real? Anyway, thank you to everyone who supports my channel, it really means a lot. If you want more content, you could join my Discord or my guild as well. Also, I'm pushing out new stuff for my UGC group, so join that down below and cop the drip. Big thanks as always for all the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe since we just hit 110k subs. I appreciate you all. It's punchin' time.